So I went on a little exploration of my own on what Jonah might mean this year. And so I have a somewhat poetic exploration to share with you. But first, a little preface. Rebecca Bardach is an American Israeli who has dedicated much of her life to creating a Jewish-Arab shared society, who is an expert on refugees and international migration and development. After her cousin, Hirsch Goldberg Polin of blessed memory, was buried, she wrote this: "Ultimately, we need faith, even radical faith, in the possibility and necessity of change, from both Israelis and Palestinians, and radical commitment to the principle that learning to live together with all its myriad and very real challenges will always be better than continuing on this path that we are on." Do I think that this has a high probability of succeeding? Honestly, no, I do not. But I know with absolute certainty that without trying continuously to make such changes come about, we are doomed to something far more catastrophic than all that we have yet seen. So against the odds, I suggest we try harder. God called to Jonah, who ran away, to a boat in the ocean. God caused the wind to blow, and the boat heaved to and fro, and Jonah hid down below in the belly of that boat. And the sailors drew lots as to who was to blame, and Jonah, as we all know, was found to be the guilty party. So they threw him overboard, his idea actually, no joke. And so he sunk down, 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 where he might then be hidden in the belly of the sea. But God sent a great fish who swallowed Jonah up, and then Jonah sat, not hidden, in the belly of the fish, where there Jonah had some time to think. He was Jonah, who kept hiding and kept being found again and again until he was only found. It turns out when we are in the belly of boats, oceans, and fishes, we can learn that we can't really hide even from ourselves. And so when Jonah at last was in the belly of that fish, he prayed. He felt remorse. He glimpsed for a moment what his life could be if he would only stop running and hiding in the down below places. And so he was set free into the light onto dry land above the bellows of it all. And he did as he was told, and the people did as they were told. But it was also very anticlimactic. And isn't life supposed to be more interesting than this? Isn't there supposed to be more to it than this? And so Jonah asked, was this what I was made for? And who am I really? And what do I matter? And what does God care? Why bother to ask little old me? I give up. It's pointless. I'm nothing, just a speck of dust, a little fish in a big sea full of bigger fish who swallow fish like me. It was never about me. But God asked Adam and Eve, "Where are you?" when God knew exactly where they were. And God asked Abraham to sacrifice both of his sons, even though God would save them both in the end. And God asked Moses to demand of Pharaoh, "Let my people go," when God planned all along that it would be God who would let them go. And God asked Jonah to save the people of Nineveh when God knew the people of Nineveh would change their ways, and so God would forgive and therefore save them. Jonah was not the only one who was asked, and will not be the last one to be asked. He was one of many greats, who were all merely mortal in the face of what God could or might do. Perhaps Jonah, Moses, Abraham, Adam, and Eve were all symbols that remind all of us God prefers to work with others, and sometimes those others are not just angels, but us. And maybe God is lonely, and maybe God knows people need to be accountable. Maybe God knows we need to step up. Maybe God understands for the world to be a better place, it will take all of us mortals. And maybe God knows sometimes we don't wanna. and we run and hide, and we say, pick on someone your own size. And maybe God says, do it anyway, even if there is no chance, even if you are mortal, and even if you are so small that fishes can swallow you. And even though you run and hide and evade and complain over and over again, yes, Jonah is nothing. But on that ship, he was everything. He was the key to everyone's survival. And in that fish, he prayed beautiful prayers. And God likes prayer. It's one of God's love languages, actually. And especially when prayer is earnest and life-affirming, Jonah helped God. And so Jonah was actually really something then, too. And on dry land, Jonah was the messenger to the people of Nineveh. And even though it was anticlimactic for him, nothing shifted with the people until Jonah did something. Because God knows humans sometimes are the better messengers. Sometimes things go better this way than if God sends the message directly. So Jonah actually mattered, whether he believed it or not. Sometimes we don't know our greatness, how much we matter. Sometimes we even turn away from and run and hide from knowing. Jonah didn't know. Jonah didn't even want to try to know. I wonder, who is this story really about? Is it about Jonah, who tries to avoid his fate, or who finds it at last, who earnestly prays, or sometimes prays, who gets mad at the wrong things, who can't see the bigger picture, who gives up, who misses the point, or who can't understand how much he matters? Is it about the people of Nineveh who mess up, but also can listen and believe and learn and change and be forgiven? Is it about us mere humans reading this story who are all of the above, but dust of the earth and simultaneously little lower than the angels? Or is this story about God who loves prayer and always finds us and needs help with us difficult humans and forgives us and asks hard things of us, like try harder? To all of this I say yes.